Hi everyone, my name is Albert, one of the co-founders of VectorShift. Today we're going to talk about an exciting new product line that we're launching called the Conversational Chat Nodes. You're going to find this directly in the no-code builder, and we're going to walk through exactly how to use these new nodes and also why they're different than other chat nodes that you might find in the platform. And we're going to walk through a simple example of building a lead collection chatbot to show you the use case of why these are useful. Let's head right into the no-code builder. So when you head into the no-code builder today, you're going to see something in the middle of the screen called Add Your First Node. In VectorShift now, there are three types of pipelines that you can build. We have the standard pipeline, which is what you might be used to, the standard input to output pipeline, which runs from input to output, taking data in from the users, whether it's a question from the user in a chatbot, items in a form, etc. You can in the logic in the pipeline and then outputting the data back to the user. We have triggers, which is run the pipeline automatically when something happens, say when a new email comes in. And finally, today, we're going to talk about a new set of nodes that we just launched called conversational nodes. This is distinctly different than the standard pipelines, especially the chatbots that you can make in the standard pipeline, in the sense that you could define exactly what happens at every stage of the conversation instead of flowing from input to output every single time. Let's build a simple lead collection chatbot where we ask the user for their name and email at the beginning of the conversation. And then after you've collected the information, go into a standard chatbot, AI chatbot formation. Let's go ahead and click conversational to begin. You can notice that we have created the start flag that's been populated on the screen. Now, this defines the start of the conversation. You can also see that there's a new tab in the VectorShift no-code platform called Conversational. There are two groups of nodes that you will see. There's talk nodes and then there are listen nodes. Talk nodes means send some sort of message at this step of the conversation. Say sending a message, an image, a card, or a carousel. These are common components that you might see in chatbots. You can also find the listen node. This is to capture a user response or present some buttons for the user to click to offer a response. We'll go into more details in future videos, but we're going to focus on the message and the capture node in this video. So as I mentioned, we're going to have the chatbot ask the user for what is their name and what is their email at the beginning of the conversation. We need the message node, and you can say, what is your name? Let's go ahead and connect the start flag to the message node. At this step, we need to wait for the user for their response. That's a capture node. Now, let's go ahead and ask the user for their email. Let's go ahead and use another capture node to wait for the user to respond. So you can just run this now, and you can see that the first node has run, what is your name? And you can see what is your name in the chatbot, and you can see the caption node spinning. This means we're waiting for the user to respond, and we're at this step in the conversation. Let's go ahead and set Albert Mao. Now we have what is your email? And now we're waiting for the user to respond again. This is uniquely different than the standard chatbots, as you can see, where in the standard mode, every single run runs from input to output automatically. In this mode, we wait for each step and play it out step by step. This can be really helpful in defining very complicated deterministic flows where you want to inject AI in some parts of the conversation, when in others you want a deterministic message like what is your name and what is your email. Let's go ahead and make this pipeline a little bit more complicated and useful. Say I have a Google Sheet with name and email as the first two columns. Let's go ahead and use the Google Sheet node and the add new row functionality. Let's go ahead and pick the file that I just created. Let's go ahead and select the spreadsheet. We have the columns populated, and I want to put the name, which is capture 0, into the name function, and email is captured within capture 1. Let's put it right in. Let's go ahead and run this. So what is your name? Albert Mao. My email is albert@vectorshift.ai. After both data points have been captured, we're going to run the Google Sheets node once. And there we go. It's populated in the Google Sheet. All right. So how about I want to be able to ask the user for, how can I help, and then use AI to answer any questions after the name and email has been collected. Let's go ahead and use another message node and say, how can I help? Let's connect this caption node to how can I help? And let's do a simple RAG chatbot after this. Let's go ahead and make a simple chatbot on VectorShift here. Let's go ahead and create a new knowledge base. And maybe we can just input the VectorShift URL in here to scrape the website as context. And let's go ahead and build a simple RAG chatbot. So after how can I help, we have to wait for the user to respond to have them ask a question. So that would be the capture node. Now this is going to contain the question from the user, say what is VectorShift? And let's go ahead and connect capture 2 to this knowledge base. And let's go ahead and prompt this LLM to answer the question based on context. The question is, again, captured by capture 2. And then the context from the knowledge base is coming from the knowledge base reader. Then we need to take this OpenAI response and spit it back out to the user through a message node. And then after this, I want to be able to potentially, loop back to the how can I help node so that I could keep allowing the user to ask additional questions. To create loops, all you got to do is drag around and connect to where you want the loop to begin. So you get to see that everything highlighted in light blue is this loop. We call it cycle in VectorShift. So after saying the response in this message 3 will appear in the chat, how can I help? And we also have this additional feature where there's input versus cyclic input. Cyclic input is what will the chatbot say every additional time after the first time into the chatbot. So let's just say, how can I help? Do you have any additional questions? Let's go ahead and run this chat flow now. Let's restart. So what is your name? Let's say Albert. Let's say my email is albert@gmail.com. Now we populated into the sheet. Now, how can I help? Let's just say, what is VectorShift? You can see we're querying from the knowledge base. The LLM's generated the response. And after it's generated, it's going to spit it back out to the user. So, VectorShift is a no-code AI automation platform. And then we've looped back to this node, which is how can I help? Do you have any additional questions? Note the first time around, it asks how can I help? The second time around, it's asked how can I help? Do you have any additional questions? Let's just say, what are use cases in VectorShift? And it's going to do the loop again. And then the second time around, it's also going to ask how can I help? Do you have any additional questions? There we go. So second time around, it's listed out some use cases, and then it's asked, do I have any additional questions? Finally, let's go over how to actually deploy this chatbot. So it's actually the same way with all the other chatbots. So just click deploy changes, go to export, chatbot, May 1st chatbot. You can give it whatever name that you want. We also have this additional field for conversational chatbots called message delay, which is the time that you want between each message. And I have 500 milliseconds here. So you can just go ahead and export. You can also embed this right into your website with the script and iframe, but it also works within the ChatGPT style interface. And you could use this just like a normal chatbot. Say, my name is John. My email is john@gmail.com, and so on. And you can see after this, is populated into the Google Sheet as well. Hopefully this is an exciting new feature. I know this has been really requested by many users to be able to define what exactly happens at any stage in the conversation. We're going to make a lot more videos to go through the other nodes as well. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Thank you.